Hey friends, I'm Sarah, a multi-passionate maker. This video is all about that single crochet. I created this series of beginner crochet tips to have bite-sized tutorials for those of you who are learning and even those of you who are picking up crochet after years and just need a quick refresher. So to those of you who are new, welcome in, and those of you who are returning, welcome back. Okay, let's get into that single crochet. So this is that first crochet stitch that you're going to want to learn after our chain here. And this is what most amigurumi will use, is just a single crochet. Going to start with a chain. If you want to do amigurumi, that'll be starting with a magic circle, and I'll have a video about that coming up. But right now we're going to just do that foundation chain. And if you do not know how to make a chain, you're going to want to go back to that first video that I posted about making a chain. So I'll have that linked below. I have about 12 chains here, and we're going to go in and I'm going to show you how to make that single crochet along that row. So this is for blankets, scarves, sweaters, things like that. So we're going to pick up our chain, and now when you look at a chain, one side has bumps in the center, and then if you twist it, the other side, it looks more like little braids or hearts. We're going to be working in the bumps. For me, I just find it easier, and then it creates just like a nice flat bottom, versus if you were working in one of the sides, it might get a little twisty. So mine has a nice flat bottom because I worked in those bumps. When you are working from a chain, you're going to skip the first chain from the hook. So that would be that one there. And you're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So I am going to go through the bump. So I'm going to push through. Sometimes you do have to use your fingers to get it through, and that is perfectly okay. So I'm going to go through the bump. Then I'm going to grab the yarn. Now you can do it different ways. If you are doing amigurumi, I do a yarn under technique for that. So I would just hook and pull through. If you're doing any other techniques or any other items, you might want to yarn over. So what that looks like is going around, giving it a hug, and then pulling it through. So I'm going to yarn over, give it a hug. I'm going to pull it just through the loop. I'm not going to pull it through that first part. So I just pulled it through the one loop. I'm going to show you that again real quick. I'm going to push through the loop in the chain. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through just the loop. So now I have two, and then I'm going to yarn over, but I have two, and you can see where the yarn is, right? The working yarn. So if I hadn't pulled through yet, you would see that my working yarn is back here. But here we want our working yarn through that loop. Now I'm going to grab my yarn again. So you could yarn over, give it a hug, and pull it through. It's harder to go yarn under for this. Front to back, grab it, and make sure it's facing down. It has the yarn in its little mouth there. And now I'm going to pull through both loops. So I should end with one loop on the hook. Okay, and that's your first single crochet. So the next one, I'm going to find my next bump. I'm going to go through the bump, grab the yarn, pull it through. Now I have two, and remember, when I yarn over, I'm going front to back. I hook it, twist my hook down, and pull through two, and then twist my hook back up. I'm going to do that one more time. So push it through the bump, grab some yarn. So again, front to back with the hook up, grab it. Now my hook is facing down. I'm going to go through just the loop, twist up. Now I'm going to do that again. Front to back, grab the yarn, hook is facing down, and it is going through both loops. I'm going to continue on pretty quickly. You can pause, rewind, and watch those steps again. Get to the end, okay? And then I'm going to show you how to do the next step after that. Okay, now that we've gotten to the end of our first row of single crochet, we're going to go back the other way. So if I were to be making a scarf or a blanket, you're going to be building back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all the way up your scarf or blanket. So if you were going to be making a blanket, you're going to be wanting to do your chain the size of your blanket so that you're back and forth all the way up. Okay, same with a scarf. You'd want it the width of your scarf if you're going to have one color go one way or the other. So here's our chain. We have our foundation chain on the bottom, and then we have our single crochets. Now I'm going to come a little closer. This is a good tip if you need to pause your work for a little bit. Either pull out a big giant loop so it doesn't accidentally get undone if you have a stitch marker in there, but I just pulled it out so you can see. So now when we were working in the chain, we were going through the bumps. This time we're going to be going through those little holes. So you can see there's that crochet heart braid on top, and then under you can kind of see the anatomy of it here. So you can kind of see there's that single loop under, and then there is that little hole. You can kind of peek through and see that yellow there. That's where you're going to be putting your hook through. I'm going to show you. Okay, so here's where it gets tricky again, because you're going to be holding your piece, this piece, but you're also going to be working inside of it. Okay, so get your hands. We're at the end here. We're going to single chain, so chain one. So if you see that in a pattern, chain one just means from your hook, your loop, grab the yarn, pull through one, and lift up. So that's a single chain. And now I'm going to be going through my very first single crochet, which is right there. Like I said, there was the heart on top, there will be that loop under, and then there will be this hole. You're going to go through that hole. So when you look at your hook, you have your working loop here, then you have the top of that first single crochet you went through, and then your middle and your thumb are holding on to the piece you just kind of created. Your index is your tension. So I'm going to yarn over, so that means I'm going front to back, hooking, and I'm only, remember, going through the first part. So I just went through the first single crochet that I made. Now I'm going to loop over and pull through both. And then, okay, so let's do that again where you can see it. So again, I'm going to find that hole under the second one, push through. I'm going to yarn over, hook the yarn, and I'm going to pull the yarn through, or that next single crochet. Now I have two. I'm going to yarn over, slowly yarn over, push, yarn, hook down, pull through, and remember your pointer is going with you and lifting up. Again, I'm going to find the next one. So I'm going to push through, I'm going to yarn over, pull through the single crochet, yarn over, pull through your two loops, and I'm going to continue that all the way to the end. So if you need to pause and rewind and rewatch, please do so, but I'm going to go ahead and go. Okay, now that you've made it to the end, you're just going to repeat that process. So again, it's a chain, is yarn over, pulling through that loop, and you're going to turn your piece. You're going to go through that first one. You're going to yarn over, hook through the single crochet, yarn over, and go through both. And then you are just going to keep doing that back and forth, practicing that single crochet back and forth until you really feel comfortable with that stitch before you move on to the double crochet. If you mess up somewhere, you can frog it just by pulling it out. The other thing you can do is finish it off by just a simple chain and then snip it. And then instead of pulling the yarn out, you're going to pull the loop through, pull it nice and tight. So now you have this little piece that you created of single crochet. If you found this video helpful, make sure you comment down below. Ask any questions if you need to. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Also, follow me on Instagram and TikTok for those quick crochet tips as well as behind the scenes fun. Until next time, happy crocheting!